Hi guys, welcome back to the Formless Guide, where we speak into the formless nature within us all. Some journeys are not about finding a new path, but about leaving an old one. Some wisdom is not about learning a new truth, but about unlearning 1,000 old ones. Today, we walk together from the forest of forms into the spaciousness of the formless. We leave behind what we thought we knew to remember what we've always been. For so long, we've walked in what I like to call a dense forest. We were told that each tree was a truth, each path a rule. This was the way of old wisdom, rigid forms and fixed beliefs. We followed the lines, memorized the names, and even felt safe within the certainty. But the forest, in its thick familiarity, kept us from seeing the sky. I'd like you to think of a religion like Christianity. A child sees God as a distant judge in the sky. A mystic sees Christ as an indwelling presence, oneness with what we see as the sacred. The first is form, the second is formless. This is the movement from dogma to direct communion. Next, I'd like to touch upon Buddhism. The Buddha offered a path, not a throne. Yet over time, rituals, deities, and doctrines began to emerge. Zen masters remind us, drop it all. See directly into your own nature, understand it. This is the journey from doctrine to pure awareness. Next, I'd like to reference Hinduism. 1,000,000 gods, 1,000 rituals, a world of forms. But the Upanishads whisper, Tat Vamasi, thou art that. Atman is Brahman. The forms are doorways, the truth is formless. This is the path from idolatry to realization. These traditions, at their deepest, do not point to belief. They point to being. When the forms become everything, they lose their purpose. Instead, they become walls. This is where the storm begins. Religion, when clung to as a final truth, breeds conflict. The fixed form of my God against your God against no God. The conviction that my path is the only path. The willingness to do harm in the name of a belief. This is the shadow side. The delusion that a limited human concept can contain the infinite. It is a fundamental lack of spaciousness. Spirituality, when it lacks grounding in consciousness, becomes a flight from reality. A series of self-soothing ideas with no direct experience. You'll find that it's like a personal ego trip disguised as enlightenment. And you'll notice this in certain people. The desire for a beautiful form without the hard work of actually letting go. What we speak about here using anatta, anicca, or the seventh chakra of attachment. And consciousness itself, without the wisdom of the formless, becomes an abstraction. The mind analyzes it, but never truly enters it. The result is a detached understanding that offers no true peace. What I like to think of this is sometimes you may have opened your third eye or seen the truth of reality as it is defined by you right now, as it has been defined by all the knowledge that you've attached yourself to in order to understand it. But you may feel like, with all of this knowledge, I still feel like I'm in a glass case. These are not problems with the sacred itself, but with our own human clinging to form. The Formless Guide does not merely describe the layers of consciousness. We walk with you through them. To name a layer is to offer a mirror, but to elevate it is to offer a path. Bring into the understanding that this guide, I don't want it to be a voice that's above you, rather a presence that's beside you, decoding perception, dissolving distortion, and revealing the spacious truth beneath your stories. You are not asked to believe, you are invited to see. As perception shifts, so does reality. The rigid becomes fluid, the separate becomes whole, the seeker becomes the sky. This transmission offers not just insight, but states of being that complement your energy. Spaciousness for the overwhelmed, stillness for the restless, fire for the stagnant. You are not given answers, you are given resonance. The Formless Guide is not a doctrine. I'd like you to think of it as a tuning fork. It vibrates with your own truth until you remember it as your own. We do not speak to convert, rather to awaken. It does not offer answers, it offers spaciousness. Consciousness is the thread that weaves through all spiritual inquiry. It is the witness behind the worship, the silence beneath the scripture. Religion, in its outer form, organizes belief, but consciousness reveals the source of belief. In the grand scheme, I'd like you to see it with this generalization. Spirituality is the longing. If you're a seeker, you will be a spiritual adept person. Religion is the language. Those that try to understand it through the dogma, through the doctrines, or traditions or rituals that has been presented as a guideline for that user. And consciousness is the listener, the silence that speaks from within, as ego is no longer a deciding factor in that individual's state of being. The Formless Guide speaks on consciousness because it is the only terrain untouched by dogma. It is the open sky above every temple. It is the breath before the prayer. It is the stillness that remains when all the teachings dissolve. To speak on consciousness is to speak from it. To guide is not to lead, it is to mirror. And so, we mirror your own spacious knowing. With all of this said, I'd like to pause in this clearing. Look up and think about this. What beliefs, dogmas, or roles still form a canopy over your head? keeping you from seeing the open sky? Is it a belief about who you are? A role you play that feels too tight? A doctrine that once gave you comfort, but now feels like a cage? Just name it silently. Acknowledge the form. Can you allow it to be there without needing it to define you? Can you begin to feel the cool air and the sunlight on your skin? Let this resonate with you. And as you reflect upon it, truly give yourself the space to see what is real to you right now versus what's no longer needed. Understand that it is okay that you are now stepping beyond the map. You are no longer a follower of paths, but a resident of the open sky. Your truth is not something to be found, but a spacious presence to be felt. This is where we find the end of the search. This is the beginning of being. This is the formless guide. This is where we build that formless nature within you. The you that you deserve. Until next time, this is your formless guide, signing off.